there was a drone attack in Jordan, a small installation known as Tower 22, killed three U.S. service members from, I think, the 718th Army group, and not Army group, but it was a group in the Army. And the drone, they're saying the reason it got through is because they thought that it was their own drone returning, and it happened to be this one-way suicide drone, whatever. And it killed 3 and then injured, I think it's in the 40s now.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people.
Because they were staying in tents out there. It's like 1,000 like in theater, and of this, there's like 300 at this one base, and over 40 were injured, and then traumatic brain injuries and all this stuff. It brings up a point, Gonky, that you have made repeatedly about the one that gets through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, and we can take it down because we're just discuss it now. There have been talks. I want to talk about kind of the response, but for the serious part of this, this goes to your point, Gonky, of, you know, we're in an area where we're not in any kind of real combat operations. I mean, they're doing the Houthi response proportionately, or at least we'll call it proportionately. And we're there for maritime security, but this is the Army. This is the Army in Jordan, where obviously there's always going to be a threat. And I think there's been some attacks in Iraq, like even more recently than this. But this is the first time where U.S. service members have been killed. And that changes the metric a lot. You know, one is too many.
Let's put it that way.
Well, 1 is too many. 3 is unacceptable. So, you know, what do you think, man? I mean, you're right. And this is not the thing you wanted to be right about, but you're right about when one gets through. Now what?
Yeah. You know, it's tough. I mean, obviously I've said a lot of other things as well. I lived, it's so sad to me. I've lived in the Middle East, in that area. I've fought in that region. You know, de-escalatory stuff is what you want, but that's not happening. Right. You know, I've always been a big fan of just like pummel and leave. The whole idea of just meddling for 20 years. Pretty sure we all saw how that probably not.
You can't nation build. You're not. We're not good at that at all.
We're not Rome, right? So like, I'm a huge fan of. Okay, you poke the bear. You know, there's going to be a huge rain of fire on your military stuff. I'm not, you know, definitely don't want any innocent people, but you know, it's war. It's nasty, right? It's always the last thing you want is, you know, hot rounds going down range. So, you know, I'm just a huge fan of, you know, just pummel them and then leave. Because you know, I don't want anybody else, namely on our side, to have to lose any sons and daughters, man.
But the thing is, the pummel is a country that's not just going to be pummeled, right? It's Iran.
Yeah,
right.
So to me, it doesn't matter.
Full scale war. You know, that's not.
It can be, but I mean,
we assume it will be, but you don't know that,
right? You don't know.
Right, but you're not just talking like, you know, the Houthis, right? Where you can go, you know, crush them, and there's not. I mean, this is a little different. Wombat, what's your take, man?
You know, when I think of this stuff, it reminds me of a lesson, which makes me feel old, that I taught my son the other day, and I leave his social media for reading this. This isn't my quote, but you know, he had a kid in his school that was kind of bullying him a little bit, you know, and as you can imagine, my boy's not a small boy, right? So I told him, I go, you know, you don't fight. Like, fighting is the last resort, right? Just like Gonky said, like, you don't want to send those hot rounds down range. I go, but when it's time to fight, you know, you fight like you're the third monkey on Noah's Ark and it just started raining. Like, and you go in there and you fight and you're done. And you know, and he kind of laughed at that, but it's the truth. I mean, you go in there with a purpose, so we don't have another damn 20-year, whatever the three of us dealt with that had no purpose, and get it done, get the hell back out, get home, and go back to doing what we're doing. And, you know, that's all this is. It's a bully. You're dealing, it's no different than if you're on a playground or you're at this level. It's a bully that's trying to press and see what we will take. And we're taking it, unless I missed the news, because I haven't heard our response.
Well, they are saying that there may be an announcement or some kind of response tonight. But
No.
Wombat, to your point, you know, I spent a lot of time doing Krav Maga under an Israeli. You know, he fought in the 6-Day War, and the tenets, as taught to me, were avoid, negotiate, kill, which I actually used as the title of the book, because I think that's, I mean, and we talk about it in avoid, suppress, defend. I mean, we have different ways of saying the same thing in aviation as we do this, but the big thing was avoid. If you can avoid it, you know, turn around, walk away, run away. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're backed up into that corner. Negotiate, talk your way out of it. You know, try to see if you can use that verbal judo and come to a peaceful resolution. And then at the end, it's kill. And it starts with kill their will, kill their ability, and if you have to, kill them. Yeah. You know, because you want to decisively win. Otherwise, you are putting yourself in a grave bodily injury situation. And I think that really applies across the board. Gonky, I mean, you're planning this Counter-Strike. What do you do?
Well, before we get into that,
I'm going to need 2 sections of F-18s.
I need 1 Hornet.
No, find me the oldest 06 that flew the Tomcat.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, I will say.
And if it helps if he doesn't listen at all, that helps.
If he owns a P-51 and likes to go really fast.
I will say this, like, you know, what has happened is terrible, but what has happened to me in the last 2.5 years, I have become much more aware that the talking box, my TV, or let's just say mainstream, I don't, for lack of better words, I don't trust really anything that comes out of the mainstream. So if the mainstream reports something to me, even if it's 100% true, because I'm like a dog that's been kicked, I always, you know, put my guard up. So, you know, I say I want to go over there and pummel them, but that's how I felt after 9/11. Mm-hmm. But I remember asking myself a couple questions, but my love for my country and my sadness for my countrymen who died, you know, overpowered any, I'm going to say, potential logic I might have been trying to put together in my head. So, pummel and leave, just like Wombat talked about, is the answer. Hopefully what we're hearing is true and the whole story, because no matter what happens, if you are going to go pummel somebody, the good chance when hot metal's flying, there's going to be casualties on both sides, and we don't want any more casualties, right? So, I mean, I just, so anyways, you know, how would I do it? Man, I would use, we've got tons of standoff weapons. I would pick a whole bunch of high value targets.
No,
that's what
2 sections, paveway.
Yeah, because they'll be GPS jamming.
Buddy lays, yeah. 15.
Too many buttons, dude. Listen, switchology errors are real. Ask me how I know. It's like, where'd the bomb go? Oh, I forgot to arm the laser.
That's why you have bombs. That's what bombs for.
It's still on the airplane.
I'll bring it back to you. With this one's reusable.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Morty's.
This is your way back in, dude. You and me, man. We'll teach them and then do it ourselves.
We had people on the boat to plan our missions. So
yeah, that's the other piece. Mission planners. What we'll take is that 60-year-old guy, train a crack group of Top Gun graduates, and ignore the carrier that's already out there. Those dudes, not qualified. Right. We're gonna take people from somewhere else and put them on their carrier.
Hey, hold on. First of all, as the LSO, I could get them worked up to carrier calls in 3-4 weeks.
That's true.
No problem. No problem. I mean, these guys, they're good, right? So 3 weeks of pure carrier calls, FCLPs at the field, they'll be set.
Got to
I'm not
factor in the failure rate.
I don't want to make light. I mean, every now and then you got to interject humor to stuff to tense situations and stuff. But the reality is, nothing that is about to happen is good.
No, nobody wins is what we're trying to say.
This is not. We don't want to see an escalation on any front. Period.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I'm sure Wombat feels the same way. But now that I have my own kids and stuff, I think about this stuff, and like I'm like the way I think is different. I mean, I don't want to, unless the Ruskies are coming over the border, so to speak.
That's a different crisis that was last week. Totally different story.
Right. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? If Gonky's backyard is under threat of being taken over by somebody from another country, then I'm all for sending my kids to defend their country. But I've just as a parent, the value of human life is much more to me now.